Hello everyone. Today I will introduce how to realize page sliding and text input. There are three parts: software setting, development steps, and demonstration operation. Look at an effect first. The first part, software setting. These four parts automatically generated by the system. The two parts can be set by default. The page is 0, so there is no previous page. This part, I set 1, because the next page is 1. The two parts, we can see the maximum. This part, I choose horizontal. Here I set 40. Use this algorithm. Next, it can be set by default. This part is ASCII text input. This first part is automatically generated. Click this part. These two parts can be set by default. The next is VP. Here I set it according to the range. Text length I set 10. There are two input modes: re-input and edit input. This part set by default. Here I set them. They are double relationship. The next parts you could set according to your needs. This part automatically generated parameters. Here I choose direct display. You could choose masked by. This part you could choose other pages or current pages. Select the area of keyboard. The next page I will introduce this part. This part is generated automatically. This part is the same as the previous parameter. This part set by default. This part we use basic touch. Set the key value accordingly. This is GBK input. This first part is automatically generated. Click this part. These two parts can be set by default. Here I set it according to the range. This part you could set 10, 20, etc. Because the class character library ID is 48. The dot matrix is set by default. These two parts are consistent with the above parts. This part you could choose above or on left. Next, you could choose black or white. Choose the area of display. And this is generated automatically. Again, the next parts are consistent with ASCII input settings. This part is text display. The content that needs to be entered into the text is displayed. The VP needs to be consistent with ASCII and GBK's VP. The next part, choose GBK. This is factory font. Text length I set 10, of course you can set 20. If you use ASCII text input, you need to set this part. If you use GBK input, you need to set this part. I set 16 and 32. If use GBK, we need to set 24 and 24. These two parts, you could set according to your needs. Part 2 Development Steps. Step 1 Create a new project. Add the background images. Note here that the resolution needs to be consistent with the screen. The image naming here needs to start with 0. Step 2 Generate ICL file. Click DWIN ICL generator and then select directory. The recommended name for ICL files is number 32. Of course, if you want to name it another number, you could modify it on CFG file. The next step is generate font 0 library and GBK font library. Click Welcome interface and find 0 word bank generating. Adjust the parameters according to where the font is displayed. Choose the font according to your needs and then create. When generating GBK font library, the part must be GBK selected. Similarly, choose the font according to your needs. Click Generate. This step is to set page sliding. Click Page Sliding and choose the area of sliding. Of course, if you need to set other pages, set the same steps. Step 5 ASCII text input and GBK input. Click ASCII text input and choose the area of text input. Click GBK input and choose the area of text input. Set the relevant parameters. The next step is to set text display. Click Text Display and choose the area of display. This part is for GBK. The last step is to save and generate. Put these files in DWIN ACT folder and download it to the screen. If you need to use GBK input, you can ask the sales about this file. That's all for the steps. I'll give a demonstration.
Open the DGUS software. You can download from our website. Create a new project. Choose the resolution is same as the screen. Choose File Path. OK. And then add the background images. We need named it start with 0. And then generate ICL file. Select the directory. Generate ICL. Name it 32. Of course, you can name it another number. You could modify it in the CFG editor. This part. The last step. Generate font 0 library. The font, you can choose what you need. And you can change the parameters according to the display. Create. Okay, the last is GBK font library. Simply, you can choose the font, and the character must be GBK. Okay, generate. Name is 48. Okay. The last step, page sliding. Choose the area of page sliding. Okay. Set the previous page. Click No Previous Page, and the last page we set 1. We can use the default values. And the last, sliding mode. Here I choose horizontal, and the last, I set 40. Similarly, this page, I set the same steps. Choose the area of testing. The VP I set 1000, and the test length I set 10. Because the range is 0x01 to 0x7f. The last, input mode. This part, you can choose according to your needs. And the last, font library ID. This is a default value. And the last, width and height. We set 16 and 13.2. Next, I choose black. And the font color, I also choose black. The last. This part, I choose directed display and other pages. Now click keyboard setting, choose the keyboard. OK. And choose the area of the test input. The show location, it should be the same as above. And now retain input display area. Set Click Display Keyboard. Choose the input display area. OK. Now this part is done. Last is GBK input. The steps is similar, and the VP we need to set 1200, and test length we set 20. The last we choose re-intro. Display font we set 48, and the last is 24. Color we choose black. Similarly, the last part we set 48, and size is 24. Test color, choose black. Last, I choose on the left. This part, I set white. Of course, you can set black. And the last part is the same steps as the ask task input. Okay. The last step is test display. The VP I set 1000, and the test color I set white. Encoding mode, choose GBK. Because the factory font in coding is GBK, the last two parts, according to your needs, choose the display mode. Test length. Here I set 10. The last font 0 ID. Set 0. If you use GBK input, you need set the font 1 ID. So here I set 0 on two parts. The last X direction I set 16. Y direction I set 32. And the next step, choose the area of display for GBK input. The set is same as ask. The VP we need to modify 1200. And the color, I choose white. The last, including mood, choose GBK. The last two parts according to your needs. Test length, I set 20. Okay, font one ID. We need to set 48. The last two parts, X, Y direction, we both set 24. The last step, set the keyboard. Use basic touch. Use basic touch, set the key value, deflation. Okay, the last keyboard has the same steps. Now, all steps have done. Finally, click Save and Generate.